Welcome to Full Exposure on Location, coming to you from Jump in Austin, Texas at the 2019 South by Southwest Film Festival. We have some fabulous guests on tap. Conversations with directors and cinematographers of some of the most inventive, funny, moving, and important documentary and narrative indie films that screened here in Austin. Christine Chen wears many hats: a writer, director, photographer, entrepreneur, and an Academy-qualified film producer-director. She fell in love with film, capturing images and telling stories through film the first time she got her hands on an early camcorder. Ever since, Christine's love of film turned into a lifelong passion, incorporating her perspectives growing up as a first-generation Asian American. Her debut feature is Funemployment.
Christine, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. When I looked at your website and stuff, and because I don't want to say you're just a filmmaker, but when I saw all the stuff you do, it sort of excluded the question that I have in mind of some indie filmmakers is like, what do you do when you're not making movies? And it's very apparent that you do a lot of things. I mean, photography, events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to stay busy.
Yeah.
I feel like you, as a filmmaker, if you're not constantly trying to practice and do stuff, then you're not really moving forward. So I just try to fill my schedule as much. And I'm kind of opposite, where I call myself a practical filmmaker. So my background is business, and so
really?
Yeah. So I actually never went to film school. I went to business school actually, got my MBA here in Austin. That's why I'm here in Austin. And so like filmmaking and business.
So how did you make that leap?
Well, I knew that I loved films, period, and that I was going to do that no matter what. I knew that I didn't give a crap about accounting, so I needed to go to class.
Even though you got your MBA.
So I was like, all right, it was an easy decision to make. I was like, I guess I'll go to business school and I knew I made the right decision when I sat into. We were able to take 3 classes, electives. So I was able to do them at the UT RTF.
Yeah.
And I sat next to a film student, and he asked me, I was like, oh, what have you made? He was like, I haven't made anything. And I was like, all right, well, I made the right decision because I've made more films than you have. So, and I'm not a film student. Yeah. So, but no, I love everything about filmmaking, and I'd rather do that.
For how long? How'd you get bitten?
Yeah, so I started, I guess officially doing documentary filmmaking first. So that was an undergrad, and I was able to go to China, to Lijiang, to do a documentary, and my producer is actually an anchor for NBC right now. CBS, my bad. And so it's just crazy where we came from. And then, funny enough, it was being on a 48-hour film festival thing that made me fall in love with narrative films.
Really?
Yeah. I went in, because when you're doing documentaries, it's probably changed a lot, but usually it's just run and gun. Yeah. It's you, and you're in the camera and stuff like that. You're pulling focus yourself and stuff. Yeah. So going on this narrative film set and being like, there's a job for like the lighting person, and then like what the slate. I never used a slate before. I never seen a follow focus. Like that's how green I was, and I just really fell in love with narrative. And I think it's the aspect of like you can control so many things to initiate a certain feeling that's been fun to experiment with. Yeah.
So. Actually, there's one. I only saw the trailer.
No worries.
From Yami.
Oh, Yami.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I just kind of want to hear how that. I mean, I think we'll put the trailer in so people can see it.
Yeah.
But tell us a little about that, because that looks really interesting.
Sure. So Yami was, I would think, to date, it's my most successful short film. We're still talking about making it into a feature. I am just tired because it was a good 2 or 3 years of my life. We made it prior to Trump having the Muslim ban. And so it's actually, spoiler alert, I'm kind of talking about the topic, but we were just making a conjecture, like, what if, she got stopped? Well, and it, like, once Trump came out with that, I thought it was a huge joke. I was like, how is that possible that, like, we literally predicted this to happen? And so then we had people who were like, you need to try to Academy qualify this and everything. So we went through that process, did another cut for the Academy, and so it's one of my favorite films.
How did you get inspired to do that? Film?
I like to make films about things I want to learn about, topics I want to learn about. I don't.
Your documentary background.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's all like pieces coming together and like joining. But I guess I feel like there's not enough time and why not kill two birds with one stone? So like, hey, that's a topic that I feel it's important. I want to learn more about. And if you want to make a good film, you need to do a lot of research, and that's usually how I pick how I do stuff. So that's Yalby was one of them because I wanted to learn about the Syrian refugee crisis. Then I made Shakespeare on the Range because I wanted to know about prison reform. But it is weird. Not pointing out it is the documentary aspect of it. Totally.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it might just be like my conjecture, but it seems like it's more typical for, I think of like Michael Apted, for somebody to start in documentary, do really well in it, and then just eventually get into narrative.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of people that are, Jenna Ricker, for instance, who we were going to talk to today, but we'll talk to another time. She was strictly narrative. This was her first doc. So, that's you can go any way, but it is kind of interesting.
But it definitely affects the way that I direct and make stuff. My first feature, Funemployment. It was. I don't know if you're going to talk to Kestrin with.
We did. Talk
okay,
to
great.
Kestrin, yeah.
So her whole film is an improv film, right? Mine is borderline that. Basically, I had a script, but a lot of the dialogue was made up on the fly, and I really feel like it's because I had that documentary type background, and also some of the shots and stuff I learned after that film about shot listing and all that stuff. But for that one, it was free flow. We actually went to real events, because we didn't have a budget at all. So we tagged onto real startup pitching events, pitching competitions. We had one shot to do these scenes, and I just threw my actors and gave them a real pitch deck, startup pitch deck. That's where I incorporated my MBA degree, was make a fake company and have them pitch it in this film. Yeah, so I threw them in, and everybody was fooled, and then it was like, haha, this is not a real real product at all, and everybody was like, whoa. But Funemployment, if you ever get a chance, is kind of documentary feel in certain aspects, because
Tell us about the story.
Sure. It's so when I went to business school, a lot of my friends started companies, startups. So I was very fascinated with the startup world, especially here in Austin. And the story is about four strangers, two of which are friends, but they decide, hey, what the hell? Let's start a startup company. So of course, like a lot of startups, they want to do an app. And since they're in Austin, it's a music app of some sort. It's so funny. I've had people be like, this is actually a really good, business idea.
A good business plan.
Why didn't you just actually make an app with it, if someone were to look carefully at the projections that are in the film of the pitch deck, it's a legit pitch deck. Like all the numbers all add up, the where they break even and all this stuff. My business professors will be very proud of me for making this fake pitch deck. That's
great.
Yeah. So, but no, it's about and they all live together in a house, kind of like how Silicon Valley and whatnot. And they try to pitch, and one of the characters thinks it's supposed to be easy, and they realize it's not, and shenanigans, and then relationships, and they always say that if you start a company with your friend, it's like sleeping with your friend, basically. So it's kind of the relationships parallel that and all the dynamics of it.
So you're as far as Funemployment, you're self-distributing, right?
Yes, I'm self-distributing.
It just always boggles my mind how, because I've talked to a number of filmmakers who do so much in the whole process that produce, direct, write, sometimes even act in their film, and then decide to self-distribute. I mean, what is that like to do all that and then have to also deal with? I mean, obviously it's got financial rewards, but what is the process like?
Well, since this was my first one, and I wrote it and made it in a way that I knew would be very conducive and would work with the story as a low budget film. Even the distribution kind of matches the theme of the film itself. So for this film, it works. I don't know for any other film, but for this particular film, it's about bootstrapping. So it's about doing it yourself and figuring it out. So like, I'm using that almost as a marketing tool.
I was going to say, you're almost mandated.
Yes.
To
So like we have this whole podcast right now that called the Funemployment podcast that we basically make fun of our own film because like when we made this, I mean, we had this Kessler crane that somebody let us borrow. Like one of my friends had it, and this is how green we had it. We made it. It was upside down when we assembled it. We had no clue. Yeah, so we were just so green and had no clue what we were doing, and we just figured it out. And I look at this film and I'm like, how did we get all this done? It was because we were so ignorant. We didn't know it wasn't possible. And so we shot in 3 locations that had water, which is like a big no-no. You know, you got to do ADR for all that. Shot in live locations. We shot at Austin Music Hall that no longer exists. Shot in, just tagged onto. I had a huge like party barge because my friend had a party. It was for his birthday, and I kind of was like, hey, can I crash your birthday party and bring like 20 crew members to document your film, your birthday?
Did you have somebody who at least had some experience location managing or anything? Or?
No, I was location. But this was shot like 5 years ago in Austin where you didn't need it. Like you could park downtown without paying.
So 5 years ago was a lot different here?
Oh, it was a lot different.
In the sense
so
of making a film in the city?
Yeah, so Funemployment is almost like a little... It's stuck in time. It's really fun. I mean, we shot at Jacob's Well, where now you have to like reserve months in advance and pay $15 to even go. You know, we were just there and like setting up our equipment and towing the makeup kit up the hill because we didn't know any better. Wow. So, but it was. So I love the film because of that.
Because of all those
all
quirky
I have
aspect
so many
of it.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
tell
many
us,
stories.
Tell us one of the.
One of the scenes, the reason why we got the Austin Music Hall, that wasn't planned at all. So,
well, for those of us, including me, that don't know the Austin Music Hall.
So the Austin Music Hall is like, I would say it's like the ACL almost studio at W Hotel. It's a place where music venues are. It's a huge music venue. So if you look at this, it's like, how did they get all this money to like make this? Because there was an event that was happening there called Demo Day. Techstars, I think, was the one who sponsored it. Well, while we were networking, fake networking, where I told them, here's your pitch. Right. Go and meet these real entrepreneurs are actually pitching their for real thing. One of the founders or organizers of Techstars was like, this is such a great idea. If you want to, you can come like pitch a demo day. What you have to do is like during their rehearsal time, like you have 15 minutes. Use it how you will. So we rewrote obviously because this was not in the original script whatsoever. Right? I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're definitely gonna shoot something there, and I'll just figure out how it fits into the story, basically. So like documentary style.
Right.
Yeah, and so. We shot our pitch during rehearsal. Had 15 minutes, so I had like 4 cameras going on at once. And then when the real event happened, we shot all the B-roll, people clapping, big, type thing. And then with perfect sound design, it looks like we had this huge demo day event with 1 million extras. It was just so
serendipity.
Yeah, but we didn't know about that until the tail end of our shooting. So like I rechanged the entire, basically from the midpoint to the end was completely written on the fly.
Wow.
So that's why when Kester was saying her script was improv, it made it. I was like, I was pretty much what Funemployment. I didn't even know that was like a thing, but that's pretty much what we did.
Well, it feels. I mean, I didn't see yours. I saw the trailer, but it feels like it. It feels like improv, and I think that's what kind of gives it. That's I don't know. Maybe that's sort of the documentary kind of feel. Also, is it gives that real, with being a lot of handheld and stuff. It has a real life feel to it.
Yeah.
So, how can people find out more about your film?
So there's a website. You can go to areyofunemployed.com, or we have Instagram, Funemployment Movie. If you just look up Funemployment Movie, it will pop up. It will be on Amazon eventually.
Oh, I was going to ask you.
Yes.
You have VOD. Okay, good.
Right now it's just on Vimeo because it should have come out at the same time, but because I'm self-distributing, I got a kickback, and now I need to like change some graphic.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
What do you know when it's going to be on Amazon?
Probably in like a week. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, great.
So it's literally just pending.
Great.
Me.
Excellent.
So.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this was fun.
That's all for now on Full Exposure from South by Southwest. In Austin, MJ Johnson was our director of photography. Dan Walnicki audio engineered and edited. Huda Khalid associate produced. A very special thanks to Laurie Weltz at Film Fatales for introducing us to the filmmakers who appeared on the show.